Hello, my name is Jamie, and with me is Christian. Today we're going to take you on a quick journey throughout our website to show you and explain to you some of the design decisions. Why did we make the title this big? Why is the author name bold? Why is the date faded? And so on and so on. And this is actually as part of a design series that I recently wrote called Designing a New Website, where I basically take you through the process of designing something from scratch before you have any concrete data to guide your design decisions. So really get a good base. And yeah, so I think the first thing we did was basically sit down and figure out, well, what is the most important thing in this website? And we figured that that was obviously the articles that we were going to write, the posts. And what we then sat down and figured out was, well, what is the most important thing of a post? It was pretty obvious. It was the title. Because that would give you an idea of what is this article about. So we really wanted to make that very big, very scannable. If you were just like going really fast down our site, we still wanted you to be able to sort of get an idea of what it said. And that was really the purpose. So that's why we made it this big. Blue underlined was to keep with website conventions, obviously, so everyone would know that they could click on this and go to the actual post page.
Yeah, and you can see a result of this prioritizing your different web elements. Our headlines actually end up being way bigger than our company name, Baymart Institute. So that is one direct result of making these priority lists.
Yeah, because again, the posts were just more important, at least on this site here, than the actual company name. So the next thing of the post was the author name. We really wanted to highlight that there were multiple authors behind this site, and a good way to do that is obviously to highlight who is writing the different articles and that different people are writing them. So we took the author name and made it in bold, and we also colored it.
Yeah, and the reason that we colored it green was that it was the same color as the site name, Baymart Institute. So in that way, the visitor can more easily link that Christian is an author that belongs to Baymart Institute, and we emphasized that with the same font color.
Yeah. The next thing here, if we just take them chronologically from like the visual part of it, is the date. And what we really wanted to do here is make sure that you can very easily scan the date, which is why it's so big. But at the same time, we didn't actually want the date to draw attention upon itself. So we faded the color. It's not fully black as the text here, and it's not bold as the author name. So it's actually only there when you're looking for it. So if you were scrolling down and trying to get an idea of how frequently we post, you could do that because it would still be very scannable, but at the same time it wouldn't draw attention upon itself, so you wouldn't notice it unless you were actually looking for it. And the next part here is the first paragraph. Again, just like we said that we wanted people to get an idea of what the post was about so they can figure out, do I want to read this? And the title is obviously a very good way to do that, but the next part is obviously the first paragraph. So what we did was we made it all bold. So it's really obvious this is important, you need to read this, and then you can get an idea of what the post is about. And we followed this principle about what is important by actually in all our posts highlighting all important sentences. So if there's something, an important takeaway, it is highlighted, which makes the text very scannable in many ways.
Yeah, and an important thing about a scannable website is that numerous studies have shown that people don't actually read entire web pages. They scan everything. So it's important that you design your site in a way that your visitors can scan your website and still get a lot of value out of it. So I think an important test you can do for yourself or with some actual users is to sit down and then scan through the website, and then afterwards ask yourself, did I get all the value out of this site that I wanted?
Yeah, that's one very good way to actually get a good idea if your website is scannable enough for the regular website visitor. Another thing we did was for the subtitles here, we obviously made them big, so it's obvious here's a new like section or chapter of this article. It's still quite a bit smaller than the actual title, so you're not confused. But another thing we did was to make the white space between the paragraph above it and after it, a bit bigger than the one after it. So it would really obvious that this paragraph belongs to the credit card statement quandary, whereas this paragraph here is not part of this chapter of the article. So that was one very subtle way to actually just 15 pixels more white space here is enough to visually show the visitor that this paragraph belongs to this section, whereas this one belongs to this one, or rather the introduction, I guess. And that's really the concept of proximity that we also talk about in the design series. And I think moving on to the sidebar, another really subtle thing we did was to make the font size 1 or 2 font sizes smaller than the actual body text of a post. This is so subtle that most people don't notice it, but it actually has a huge impact on what you subconsciously as a visitor notice first and what you give more weight. So that was also a very subtle way to direct attention to the posts while still obviously keeping the options we have here available.
Yeah, and talking about the sidebar, we used this concept of proximity once again. You can see the white space between this subscribe via SSS and get future articles is quite a lot smaller than the white space between each of these label or elements like stay updated and interact. And we wanted we tweak this white space quite a lot because we want people instantly when they scroll or just look at the sidebar, they will instantly notice that see more on Flickr and email us belongs to the interact label. So it was very important to us that you can just again scan through the page and then see what belongs to what labels. And again, this is the whole point of proximity.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much more we could tell you about this site, but I think this is a good introduction, and it really shows how you can apply some of these concepts that we describe in the design series in practice, and how we use them on our own site to get a really solid base before we had concrete data to improve our website. Obviously, you want to implement testing so you can gradually improve your site, but yeah, I think this is a pretty good introduction, and stay tuned for more videos in the future. We will also look at other websites and go through them and talk about conversion design.
Yeah, what's good and bad.
Yeah, what's good and bad, pretty much.